Here we are again. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Atlanta United again because, I finally have some stuff to say. So, first and foremost, if you're wondering, is this I'm returning to reviews? Not quite yet. And the only reason it actually doesn't have anything to do with me, like, I can't talk about the team right now. Honestly, the reason it's hard for me to do game by game reviews is because I can't watch every game. And that's down to Bally Sports' greed and their inability to let anybody outside of AT&T and DirecTV watch the game, which I have neither. So if it's not at home and it's not on like FS1 or ESPN, it's on Bally Sports Southeast, and I don't have DirecTV, so I can't watch Bally Sports Southeast. So screw Bally Sports because they're greedy bastards. But yeah, because I can't watch every game, it's hard for me to do a game by game review. However, I do want to talk about kind of what's been going on with the team since my last video talking about how I was done doing reviews for them. Because there was a lot of stuff in that video that I didn't. Well, let's just say there's a lot of stuff I didn't know when I made the video. So, first of all, we'll start with Heinze, because obviously, a lot of stuff has come out about him now that, in hindsight, yeah, no wonder we had a rough start to the year. I mean, when you got a coach that is that crazy, it kind of makes sense why the players were struggling. And then on top of that, he freezes out your star striker on his return from injury. Yeah, I can understand why a lot of players were underperforming. So I do have to apologize a little bit because I was very harsh on the players. I didn't realize kind of what was going on behind the scenes. I didn't realize a lot of the stuff that was leading to our rough, bad start to the year. On on from that note, though, that was a part that now that I'm looking back in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. Since that point, Rob Valentino, coming in, took over a couple rough games, but then started to turn around a little bit, and then Pinedo, he officially took over the team, had a rough start with the first game, but then, things turned around. And now we're looking 3 games on the bounce after his first loss, and we're playing well again. We're looking like a team. We're looking like a team with energy. We're actually playing with a bit of style and a bit of class. Very, very fun to watch. And that's something that, the coach deserves a lot of credit because clearly you can tell new coach comes in and whether he's just allowed the players to do what they're doing or whether he's coming with his own ideas and said, hey, let's try this instead. Whatever the case is. I honestly think you could have brought in most anybody and it probably would have been better than Heinze because I think the players would have just been like, thank God we don't have to deal with him anymore. And you could see that. Under Valentino, the team started to look so much more fluid and much more connected than it did under Heinze. So I think just changing the coach over, just getting rid of Heinze, backing the players instead of the coach in this situation, because most of the time you don't want to do that. You don't want to give the players too much power because then they can just be whiny babies and be like, oh, you're not playing me, so I'm not going to do my job and all this stuff. You don't want to give in to that. But when it's something as bad as you're not giving them water at practice, you want to back the players at that point. You want to stand up for them and say, okay, that's a little weird. That's dealing into the inhumane territory. So we're going to just move that on out of here. But yeah, so it's been great to see us playing a lot better, moving the ball a lot more. Defending looks better as well. So yeah, all that's been great. Player-wise, not a whole lot of change that we've seen going from Heinze to now. Honestly, with Martinez coming back, of course he's going to start. But a lot of the players that played under Heinze, aside from obviously the ones that got injured, like Heinemann and Ibarra, they're still playing. It's not like anybody is rotated out. Nobody's really dropped off in form. Nobody was getting favoritism from Heinze. It's still the core group that we saw early on. And I will say the performances from all of them have stepped up a bit. And that's including probably my least favorite player at the club right now, Alan Franco. And honestly, I am a bit harsher on Franco. And it's only because he's a DP player. And I feel like if you're going to pay DP money for a defender, you got to get better than Franco. You know, you got to get the Virgil van Dijk of the MLS. Obviously, you're not going to get a player like Van Dijk to come to the MLS. That's not going to happen. But you better get the equivalent of that for the MLS in a defender if you're going to pay DP money for a defender. And what I see is the MLS equivalent of like a Ben White or a Tarkowski. A defender that's solid. He can have a good game, but he's not tearing anything up. He has a lot of mistakes, and he's shown a lot of mistakes, and he's also a bit slow. So the fact that we're paying him that much money and we're using a DP slot on him is why I'm a bit harsher. Because I'm like, if we're going to pay that much money, he better be living up to those standards, and I don't think he is. Now, that being said, I think he's getting closer to that. With every performance, it seems like he's getting a little bit better. He's learning from his mistakes. He's reading the game a bit better. He's figuring out how to use his ability a bit better because he's not quick enough to just be like, yeah, I'll just stand right here next to this striker, and when we get into one-on-one, I'm definitely going to beat him. He's learning from that. He's putting himself in a good position so he doesn't have to get into a foot race with a striker that's obviously faster than he is. So it's good to see that he's learning from his mistakes. I still don't think he's quite worth what we're paying him yet, but maybe he'll get there. Still has a chance to grow into that. For me personally, I don't see it happening just because he's had a lot of time to grow into that and he still hasn't. But then again, he also came in under Heinze, so maybe that kind of put him back a little bit. I don't know. And that's honestly something else that I kind of feel like want to talk about. There's a lot in the back room that we're not going to know about as fans, and that's perfectly fine because we shouldn't know everything going on. Not everything should be leaked to the press. Not everything should become a story that all the fans know about. So with that being said, whenever I criticize a player, most of the time it's based on what we're seeing on the pitch. We're not seeing anything on the training ground. We're not seeing anything going on behind the scenes. Whenever we bring in a player, we don't know what's going on with the transfers. And that's something I do think needs to be improved on. From Eels, from Bocanegra, we need to start, instead of just bringing in this talent that's like, oh, they're young, exciting talent from another country, maybe start bringing in some talent that we know can already do it in the MLS. Some of these clubs, they do poach a bit of talent from other MLS clubs. Now, I'm not saying let's go get another, what was his name? I've already blocked it out because he was so... Why did we have him? Oh my god. Man Bun. Wow, I've actually forgot his name. It's pretty embarrassing. Bad Mason. Remember names. But yeah, the guy that came in under DeBoer, older player, played for the U.S. men's national team at some point. I'm not talking about bringing in guys like that. I'm talking about bringing in players from other MLS teams that maybe are not doing their best. Maybe teams that are fading a little bit. But we bring in a player that's like, oh, look, you're the best player here. Maybe you want to play for a better club. Stuff like that. Instead of just going and like, oh, this guy, he's playing in Brazil or he's playing in Argentina or he's playing in Mexico and he's lighting up that league. And then they come to the MLS and it's not at all the same. It's a different country and they don't know what to do. And then suddenly PD's gone back because he can't handle it. So I'm talking about stuff like that. Obviously they did have some successes. Almiron was a huge success. Martinez, huge success. Barco's turning into a bigger success. Araujo, very early days, but already looking like a huge success. Moreno's looking a huge success. So sometimes it does work, but it doesn't always work. And I feel like there needs to be a firm base to kind of build around, I guess, a firm foundation. Because I look at this team and I look out there, the players that we have, and I don't know where our foundation is. Robinson seems like he could be a good foundation, but I don't know. He's in and out of the team a little bit now. He's looked a little off pace since coming back from internationals. I don't know what's going on with him. So he's still young. It's not a great player to be like, yes, you're going to be our foundation that we build upon. And then you look at some of the other players around the field. None of them are players that I'm thinking, I want them to be our leader. Guzan can be a leader at times, but a lot of times he's just kind of the motivator. He's the guy that's like, yeah, getting you pumped up, yelling at you if you're doing stuff wrong. He's not really I'm going to lead you. I'm going to show you, hey, this is what we got to do better. So I feel like we need to find somebody like that. I mean, honestly, just go ahead and show it off a little bit right there. Yeah, a leader like Parkhurst, led from the back, he was confident. He knew what he was doing. He read the play well. And he led a lot of these players. He helped grow some of these players that are still here, like Robinson, like Bello. I was like, what's his name? He helped grow us as a team because he was a strong leader and he was good at helping us make decisions. He was good at helping the players around him make decisions. He was an organizer. We need something like that. I think that's it's one thing that we're really lacking at the moment because we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of energy at the moment, it's looking good, but, you look at the game tonight against DC because you had a good game against Orlando, good game, easy game against Cincinnati because it's Cincinnati. So 2 good games back to back. You performed well in both, you kept clean sheets, but then you face a slightly more difficult challenge in DC, a little bit more organized, a little bit more compact, a little bit more defensive, looking to hit you quick on the counter, a bit more attacking talent up front than Orlando or Cincinnati. And they scored too. And there were a couple times it was looking a little dangerous for us throughout the game. So I feel like it's in games like this that you want a more calm head, a more sensible leader in the back, somebody that can help us keep a clean sheet. Help us keep from having too many issues, too many errors, too many unforced errors, especially. Something along those lines. And I don't know where that's going to come from, but I feel like that needs to be our next step because I think we've got enough attacking talent. I think we've got so much attacking talent. As long as none of them leave, I think we've got a good, strong attack front. Martinez is looking back to his best. Arujo, like I said, great addition. Barco's stepping up. Moreno's probably been our best all-around player throughout the season just because he's been doing it since the beginning of the season. Even under Heinze, he was looking like one of our best players. Rossetto and Sosa are looking strong in the midfield. Bello and Lennon, both decent options. Not great at wingback, but also it's your wingback position, so they don't have to be your best players. But, they are serviceable, and you have a couple of backups, like Hernandez, like Mulroney. Both of them can do the job well enough to just keep it calm, keep it collected. It's in the back that I do worry, because Walks, he's okay. He's good, not great, but he gets the job done for the most part. Franco, looking better, but he still has issues in his game. And like I said, Robinson, normally very good, but has looked a little shaky recently, and I just don't think he's a leader per se. So I think that needs to be the one final key component that would really skyrocket us back to being one of the best teams in the league and being honestly better than an MLS team because that's what I want us to be. I've talked about this before. I don't want us to just be another MLS team. Oh, we're a good MLS team. No, I want us to be better than an MLS team because I want the MLS to get better. I want the talent. I want the appeal. I want the... What's the word I'm looking for? I want the viewing. I want the viewing to be better than what we're seeing currently because currently it's just not good soccer. It's not good football. It's just average. And I get, I get that you're going to get that. It's going to happen because you've got a lot of money in the sport, and unfortunately when you have a lot of money, you also have to have balance or else things happen like with the old MLS, I think it was the NASL, that whole debacle. So they keep it balanced, and so you can't get too much talent because you can't pay your talent enough. So that's one issue. But also, you've got no really risk of relegation, no punishment. You get rewarded if you finish further down the table. That's something else that also leads to, well, we don't have to try as much because you know what? We're not making playoffs, so why even bother? And unfortunately, that's kind of what leads to a lot of these games that are just kind of, that was boring to watch. That was awful. These teams are terrible. So I hope that we can be better than that. I hope we can rise above that and not just be we did great this year, but then, we're going to have an off year this year. That's unfortunate. But this year we're going to make playoffs. This year we're going to be top of the table. And then next year we're just going to kind of mid-table, somewhere around there, maybe make playoffs. I don't want us to be that team. I want us to be a team that constantly, every year, is like, we're top of the table. We're one of the top 2 or 3. We're constantly in the playoffs. We're constantly pushing to win the whole thing because that's what I want to see. And I feel like we've got a good turnaround. We've got a good resurgence since Pineda's come in. I want to see more of it. I want to see us keep growing. I want to see us keep getting better. tonight was a night where we didn't even have one of our better attacking players. We didn't have one of our best defensive players on the field, and we still got the win. We fought for it. We fought hard. Not always pretty, but we still got the win. It's good to see. It's good to see that fight back. It's good to see the energy back. It's good to see the momentum back in our sails. So now let's keep growing. Let's keep building on this. Let's keep getting better. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, was just the feel of the club, the energy behind it. I feel it again. So I'm glad to feel it. Again, I won't be able to talk about every game because I can't see every game. I'll try to, if there's anything that needs to be talked about, I'll probably, talk about it in a game review, something like that. Like if there's a game I see and there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, I'll probably make a review. I'll probably talk about the things I want to talk about, but that's where I am right now. And this was a weird video. And if you watched all the way to the end, I appreciate it. It's kind of just a rambly time with Mason. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed tonight's win. Yeah. All in all, it's looking better. I think we're now in playoff position, and yeah, it's good to see. So good job, Pineda, and that's about it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts been ever since Heinze left and ever since we sort of turned it around? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. Future Atlanta United talks, reviews, all of that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.